side too. I'm just going ahead and going across the top here real fast. Starting to come. There we go. Now there's the sleeve. It does have a little chewy right there on the side of it. I don't know what their deal is. Oh, maybe it's rubbing on that part right there. This looks like a piece of pipe. I'm going to take dimensions of this and should be able to use that diameter a little bit longer to get behind the last bearing in there. We're going to replace all the bearings. All right. Now on the inside of this, I can feel the grit. Now one bearing on one outside said that it was made in Germany. Another one said Switzerland, and this one here is made in Portugal. So that, you know, there's a lot of different bearings in here, but they are all good quality. They're rubber sealed. 6205s are the outside bearings here, and the one that fits in that adapter that we're making. And this one could, you know, for the price of them, you know, I mean, yeah, it's a good spare bearing, but if you're gonna go through all the effort of changing this out again, why not put in brand new bearings? tell you what, both bearings on that far side were ready to get changed anyway. They don't, I mean, they don't feel completely wasted, but they do feel well used. Now this one says France. So we had France, Sweden, Germany, and I think we had one that said Brazil. Anyhow, we got all the bearings out, and there's one thing that we found out in here, because now we can look inside the cavity, and the holes on the other one that are wasted out right here. There's a little slug in here, and it has to be tapped in line with that slug. So those are going to have to be filled in. Now I'm going to call him up also and see if he's going to run these this way here, or if we want to set these up and put helicoils in them to maybe add a little bit of strength to them. The percentage of the holes doesn't look too bad, and the depth of them, oh, pretty close to about 3/4 of an inch. Alright, let's get a little bit of room here. We got in our bearing, and the bearings that we are running are SKF, and you know, they've always been a good bearing. I've been really happy with them, and over the years they've changed manufacturer place. Right now this is Argentina. Alright, so you Argentinians, thank you very much for making the bearing for the use today. And it feels real good, feels nice quality, and the dimension that the book was calling out for, and this measures up to be 2 inches 440, and it looks like about 5/10, so it's right in the ballpark there, what my literature tells me it's supposed to be. It feels real good, so we're going to go ahead and start going for our depths now. And we got our depth mic. This is a Fowler, and she just happens to be one of the depth mic kits that I have, and we're measuring 554.5, and we compared that to our 555 on our depth. We actually took this on our paper and just kind of hit it, so we're satisfied with that depth right there. And now we're going to go ahead and change out our rod on the depth mic, and we're going to go from here to here and compare it to this dimension from here to here. Alright, we pulled out our other rod. I got them sitting over on the hydraulic press, so I had to walk over there. And once you insert the rod in there, then you tension that down in. And this does have the ratchet on it. It's probably the only time I actually use a ratchet, and I'm holding this flat against that face. And this is another reason why I left this on here, because I need, you know, I wanted to double check this depth here, and also then we're going to be holding this, and we're going to be doing the turning on the other side there, and then we'll flip it over. This angle, or this relief that's going to be in here is just that, it's to the air. It's not really important, so why not leave it on there for use like this? When you read depth mics, you're reading them in reverse. So we got 1 inch and 92, and it's kind of hard to show you here, and I had to hold this really close. It was 1 inch 105. So basically, what we have is about 12 or 13 thousandths to increase this depth, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to touch off of here and take that dimension there, and then we just finalize on here, and I'm ready to part this thing off so we can get going on the other side, and then we'll get on over to the mill, and we have 2 hole patterns to put in the mill. One's going to be countersinks for socket heads, and the other's going to be a 3/8 National Course standard American thread. Okay, 2 more. And that's a pretty good finish there. Alright. And we're at 1 inch 106. That's going to be great. Alright, let's double check this outside diameter here. Alright, I feel a slight burr right there. Let's go ahead and knock that off real quick. Now I'm using my veneers because this is open to the air, so it's not really a real critical dimension there, but we're just kind of playing it by ear here. We got 5 inches 735, and on this original part here we got 5 inches 700. So we got 35 thousandths to take off of that diameter. Okay, 5 inches 698. So we were within 2 thousandths there. Alright, you saw me break that in that surface right there. This one here is sharp, and the bearing's got to go in there. And this one here has got a little raised burr on it there, and we just kind of want to take that out of there. Both of those areas aren't showing on this piece right here, but I'm not really taking after seeing, you know, this has been modified by somebody that's just trying to cut corners, and I want to go ahead and make it a little bit more up to my standards, or if I was just doing it from scratch and kind of playing around with it. Let's go ahead and take the boring bar in here, and I'm going to move this back a little bit. All right. We're going to use this, and we're going to break that corner and break that corner with the boring bar, because we can reach in there. It's real hard to get in there with the, and also to your quick burrs and stuff like that. Sometimes you get chatter with them and things like that. I know for a fact I can stick this in there and then just barely kiss those and break those two surfaces right there, and then probably just hold a piece of emery in there and go and it'd be fine as kind. I want to go ahead and make sure it's a 45, so I'm just going to quickly turn my compound here to a 45, and it's not really even, you know, really making sure that it is exactly 45, because I just wanted to break that, and it's just to the air. All right. just enough so that they're not sharp edges. You don't get your fingers cut. Alright, now we're just going to hold in a little paper. Alright, nice and smooth. And that bearing's actually going to go in a lot better. And also too, you see the edge of that bearing right there, that's radius. So this you look at the width of that. I mean, that whole depth is the full width of there, but your actual contact surface width right there is, of course I'm reading it backwards on the scale, but it's only 400 thousandths. So we're like 555 on the depth there. So there's a little bit better than 1/8 of an inch of this total width that's not even making contact. So, but it doesn't matter. All of the required surface is going to be making contact. Okay, I don't really see any other thing that needs to be addressed to this before we part this piece off and get it turned around and set up and start machining the register, the face to thickness, and this relief coming back into the inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my parting tool here. Alright, and of course I got this slightly loose here because I got to set that taper. What I like to do is, and there's several different ways to set this up, but this holder is nice and machined flat right here with the blade. So by bringing it in to where I got full contact across that fresh machined surface right there, I can bring that in, and then I can hold it right up against there, and it lets me cock it or bring it to where I'm touching here and here. So I'm holding that perfectly straight across there. Then I can go ahead and I can tighten down my compound. Now I know my tool bit is set perfectly in line with my parts so that I can plunge in there. Then I go ahead and I back it up here because I need to know that I'm clearing here and this blade's going to be in here far enough. Alright, and we're lacking a bit of depth there. So I'm bringing this back here so that I know if I take this edge straight across here, I know that that's going to catch there. So I'm just bringing it back till I know that that edge is not going to make contact. Now I'm going to loosen these 2 screws or 3 screws right there as soon as I find a wrench. Alright, found the wrench. Now I'll slide this in. At least that way I know that I can make, that's the plunge. It's not extreme. If I felt that was real extreme on how far it's sticking out, then I would leave it short, plunge in a little bit, and then back out and extend it out and then reach in there. But I don't think this is too extreme. Not for aluminum. If it was a harder steel or whatever, I would tend to change that thinking there. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and basically we're going to have to leave it right there. We're double checking here, making sure that we can come all the way in there. We're checking the jaw. You want your jaw contact down here next to here. We don't need any accidents happening, so we can actually be able to come in a little bit more. So we're thinking about bringing our compound back in to where the edge of the compound is within itself, so that's stronger. We're only going to be talking about 900 thousandths here. We come in, there's 7, 8, 9. Alright, and we have better than 1/2 inch of width between this outside jaw and the table down there. So we're swinging that in. Alright, that looks good. So let's go ahead and we're going to set our scale to the, our cutter to the edge. And we're going to take we're going to take a short tool bit here. Just like we were doing with the scale across here. Well, I'm going to take a short high-speed steel tool bit, and I'm trying to pass it by. Alright, right there. Just went past it, and I can slide this piece right past there without catching it. And I'm going to go ahead and set it again, and I like that. Whoop. Alright, we set our travel dial at 0. Alright, we're measuring our width here. It is, it's 902, 904. Actually, this is galled up on the back side here. 902 again. There's a, you know, the sanding marks here and everything else. I don't really think that this thing just crashed once. I think this guy has a habit of this, but we're gonna go with 900. And feed that in now, and we'll give it another 20 thousandths of depth. The reason why we're doing that is because we can face that off in the machine, and if we part in and the finish along our edge is not really kosher, meaning if we're not happy with it, we know that we can machine a smooth face. So why not give yourself a little bit of extra there, and we can skim it afterwards. In fact, actually, we're just going to go ahead and go for a full 30 second. We'll know right away when we touch it, and I think this is a pretty sharp bit, and you know, we got 3/4 of an inch to go in straight anyway, and then after that, this is all relief. But sometimes your parting tool will drift in or out, and you'll have either a concave or a convex surface, depending on which side you're talking about and which part you're keeping. So let's play it safe and we'll go there. Now we're double checking again. We're still looking good, a 1/2 inch there. Now we're not gonna. Some of our parts you see that I'll catch them. This time I'm going to bring my center all the way in here, because I know that the center fits in between there, and it won't drop but maybe 100 thousandths. Yeah, maybe about 100 thousandths the most. And I don't really even need to really tighten that down. It's just going to give me something to support that ring when it pops free from the part when we get to the end of our parting. And it'll have a place to set, so it's not going to come down and bounce and fly and get dinged or anything. Alright, now we're not running any feeds, but we are going to go ahead and spin this about 450 RPMs, and we're going to go ahead and we're using aluminum Tapmatic to lubricate it. And if need be, once I get a little bit deep, if my brush is not doing the job, I will have aluminum tapping fluid that I can squirt in there with the nozzle. Here it goes. it goes. And live center works pretty good sometimes on holding your part there. Alright, and that surface finish is pretty good, but you never know what you might end up with. And this might also gall along this surface sometimes when you're parting it off. So leaving yourself a little bit extra here. We said we needed about 900, right? And I got 935 thousandths right there. Alright, let's go ahead and get this cleaned up and rearranged. And I'm not quite sure how we're going to hold this yet. Okay, we've cleaned our 3-jaw here and changed the jaws around so we can grab this 4-jaw. And so what we got here is we got a new 7-jaw. And I chose this lathe is more comfortable for me to stand and operate and show, and easier to get the camera in to show the project going on. This is not a normal practice, but it's not a it's not a dangerous practice as long as you got everything all situated, because you can 4-jaw or 3-jaw anything in the lathe that you choose to. I mean, as long as you don't exceed the weight capacity of the machine as a whole. So however many contacts this thing wants on, I mean, you could go from a 3-jaw to this 4-jaw and chuck on a little jaw and then put in a drill chuck and then put on something over there, and then you can machine that. It's just, normally you'd run a 4-jaw or you'd run a 3-jaw or whatever, but we're working on something a little bit smaller. Instead of muscling in the big 4-jaw, I run in this jaw. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to be chucking on a piece of aluminum here, and these jaws do look pretty gnarly. So, we want to hold it there, and we're going to be holding it out here so that we can reach in behind here with a finger indicator and then an OD indicator, so that we can make sure that this thing is running perfectly true in the face and in the peripheral readout. Alright, now there's several different ways of actually putting a barrier between a jaw and the part, and I've got some more aluminum pieces here, and we're gonna attach these here. I just pulled these off of here, and there was some dried out caulking that I had put these on before in a prior video there, and the caulking in the shipyard is called monkey shit, and that's usually just put a dab in there, and then when you squeeze it, it kind of creates a suction on there, almost like dentures, and holds the part in there. But we're going to be working out on the end here, so this has got another section of jaw here. So I'm just going to do a quick wrap with a piece of tape around here, and this is how we'll go ahead and we'll hold these jaws on. Soon I get my tape to rip off here, right?